Most people trying to soundproof a wall are wasting their money. Not because they're buying expensive products, they're buying the wrong ones. So if I had to soundproof a wall today, I'd do it differently than I just did a year ago. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I would do it in 2026, starting with the upgrades I spend my own money on first and working all the way up to a professional wall assembly. But before we start adding drywall or opening walls, let's quickly talk about the products that still don't work, because there are plenty of them. Acoustic foam, peel and stick soundproof panels, soundproof wallpaper, and even soundproof paint or sound deadening paint are still being marketed as soundproofing products. The problem is they're simply too light. Some of them can reduce echo inside the room, which makes the room sound better to the people inside it. But that's very different from stopping sound from getting through a wall. Real soundproofing comes from adding mass, sealing air leaks, and when necessary, separating the wall from the structure itself. Once you understand that, the rest of the process becomes much easier. So let's start with the first upgrade I'd recommend before spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Seal the air leaks first. If this was my house, this is exactly what I would start with. Before adding another layer of drywall or opening up the wall, I would spend a few minutes looking for places where sound is already leaking through. Sound travels incredibly well through the air, so even a small gap can let more noise through than you'd expect. Start by checking around the perimeter of the wall. Look where the drywall meets the floor and ceiling, around the windows and door trims, if they're part of the shared wall, and anywhere pipes or cable passes through the drywall. These are all common places for sound to escape. If you find any gaps, seal them with an acoustic sealant. Unlike regular latex caulking, acoustic sealant stays flexible over time. As your house naturally expands and contracts with the seasons, it continues to seal those small gaps instead of cracking and creating new paths for sound. Realistic expectations. Sealing air gaps alone isn't going to transform a noisy room into a silent one, but it's one of the easiest and least expensive improvement that you can make. Once the easy air leaks have been sealed, the next upgrade I'd recommend is adding another layer of drywall. In fact, I recently built an entire wall just to answer one question: is adding another layer of drywall actually worth it? You've probably heard people say that adding mass helps block sound, but I want to see how much of a difference it actually made, so I built a wall using standard half-inch drywall, measured how much sound passed through it, then added a layer of 5/8 of an inch drywall over top before repeating the exact same test. The results were good enough that this is still one of the first upgrades that I'd recommend for existing walls. I also recommend staggering the seams so they don't line up with the existing drywall underneath. You'll also need longer drywall screws, and depending on your electrical boxes, you may need box extenders so your outlets and switches sit flush with the new drywall. And if you want to see a complete build, the before and after sound test and the decibel reading from the experiment, I'll link that video in the description below. Now, if you're already opening the wall or planning a renovation, there's another upgrade I do before putting the drywall back up. And that's fill the wall with insulation. Now, if your wall already has insulation in it, don't expect that replacing it with a different brand makes a huge difference. But if the wall is empty, adding insulation is absolutely worth doing. The insulation isn't there to block sound on its own. Instead, it helps absorb some of the sound energy that's bouncing around the inside wall cavity before it can make its way to the other side. For soundproofing, I recommend using mineral wool like rock wool. Safe and Sound is denser, easier to work with in my opinion, and generally performs a little better for sound. But if you already have fiberglass or you're working within a budget, it's still a worthwhile upgrade. Now, will insulation by itself make a dramatic difference? No, not really. If you install it in an existing wall without doing anything else, you'll probably be quite disappointed. But when you combine it with sealing the air gaps and adding another layer of drywall, it becomes an important part of the overall system. Now, before we close the wall back up, there's one area that almost everyone overlooks, and it's often one of the weakest points in the entire wall. And that's this right here. Every outlet and light switches is a hole in the wall, and holes are never great when you're trying to keep sound from getting from one room to the other. Every one of these electrical boxes have holes in them, and those holes will let the wires in and out, but will also let noise in and out. This becomes even more important if the outlets are installed back to back on opposite sides of the same wall. In that situation, there's very little material separating the two rooms. The easiest way to improve this is by installing putty pads around the electrical box before the drywall goes back up. I actually tested these in another video because I want to know if they made a measurable difference or they were just another scam. I think they're worth adding because they're quite inexpensive, and if you're already doing the work, it's worth doing. And I'll have links in the description below of everything, all the products I talk about in this video to make it easier for you to go out and buy. Another inexpensive option is to install a foam outlet gasket behind the cover plates. They're of course not nearly as effective as putty pads, but they can help reduce small air leaks around the outlet. Now, before adding the drywall, you can add something before your next layer of drywall is called mass-loaded vinyl. Now, this is a very dense material. It's a rubber-like material, and it works well at blocking sound, and it's quite thin. It comes in a roll, weighs about 1 to 2 pounds per square foot. Adding that between the walls will make a difference. I'll have a video coming up in September, October of testing, doing a sound test with a decibel meter on mass-loaded vinyl on the wall behind me. So since you're subscribed, you'll see it pop up. Everything we've talked about so far has focused on improving the wall you already have. One of the most effective ways to reduce sound transmission is by decoupling the wall. And that's just a fancy way of saying you're separating the drywall from the wall framing, so vibrations have a harder time traveling from one side of the wall to the other. Normally, you screw drywall directly to the wooden studs. When sound hits one side of the wall, those vibrations can travel through the studs and into the drywall on the other side. By creating a separation between the drywall and the framing, you interrupt that path and make it much more difficult for sound to get through. And the two most common ways to do this are resilient channels, and also using sound isolation clips and hat channels cost a little more, but they generally provide even better performance because they do a better job of isolating the drywall from the studs. Now, I wouldn't recommend tearing apart a perfectly good wall just to install resilient channel. The cost and work usually aren't worth it on a wall. They're mostly meant for ceilings and reducing footstep noise, but it does work on a wall if person behind the wall is using a lot of bass. That can help a little bit. And if you're planning a brand new build, the highest level of soundproofing possible is with a staggered stud wall. Instead of attaching both sides of the drywall to the same studs, the studs are staggered so each side of the wall is supported independently. That greatly reduces the amount of vibration that can travel from one room to the other. And if you want to take it even further, a double stud wall is considered one of the best wall design for soundproofing. Instead of sharing the same framing, you're actually building two completely separate walls with an air gap between them. Because the drywall on each side is attached to a different wall, there's very little direct path for vibration to travel across. That's why this type of construction is commonly used for recording studios, home theaters, and anywhere maximum sound isolation is the goal. It will, of course, reduce the amount of room you have in the room, so if you can afford that, it's not a bad idea. But for most homeowners, sealing air leaks, adding another layer of drywall, insulating the wall, treating the electrical box, maybe adding some mass-loaded vinyl and decoupling the drywall will provide a huge improvement over just a standard wall, and it's something that most people can do DIY. But if your goal is maximum soundproofing, you can still do it. Double stud wall will cost more, it'll make your room smaller, but if you want the maximum, you can still do that. It'll just cost a little bit more. Now let me know in the comment section below how you built your soundproof wall, or if you have any questions. And I also have a members section. If you need one-on-one help, I can also offer that. So click the join button right beside the subscribed button. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.